Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me for my ScrapnStamp.ca July Design Team project. This video uses the Concord 9th Lily stamp, and I'm stamping it on the Tonic Tim Holtz stamp platform with some Memories dye ink in black. I'm getting a good impression here on the Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm allowing that to dry before I bring my Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers to the surface of the paper. I'm laying the colors in strips, going from the darkest to the lightest on each petal, and I'm doing each petal the same. I've listed the markers that I'm using on the corresponding blog post, which will be listed below here in the Show More section on YouTube. But I've started with a light yellow, working to a darker yellow, a bright yellow, and then into the oranges and reds. It's important to preserve your lightest light and your darkest dark. Doing so will add depth and dimension to your card or any kind of artwork that you're doing here. So here I have exactly 4 colors laid out, and it is important to remember to blend with the lightest shade of each 2 of the colors in these strips. That way you won't contaminate your lightest color. On the folds of the petal, the darkest color will go at the fold and the lightest color will go at the tip. An orangey red is used to the center of the flower. It is important also to remember to remove the color from the tip of the marker. This ensures that each color stays as it should, but also will give a good blend when you have 2 different colors that are laying side by side on the petal. I've also added darker colors where a petal needs to fall behind. This will push the petal next to it in front of it, and by laying that darker color down, you create a cast shadow. I've decided that this lily is going to have a darker center and lighter on the petals, and in doing so, the center of the flower will be darker than the tip of the flower. I'm adding more color to where the cast shadows would be and deepening up the colors as I go, working back and forth between each different shade and building up the texture, the color, and the depth and dimension as I go. I'm darkening the cast shadows, and as you can see here, by doing that, it's pushing petals to the front and making other petals recede behind. I'm always using a lighter shade, the lightest shade of the 2 colors that are there. This yellow marker will pick, as any of the Zig markers, will pick up colors and take them off, as you can see my scratch pad there. The stamp set also has a little stamp that will color by adding different markings on a lily. I've used the Zig Clean Color markers to add color to the stamp by inking up the stamp with the side of the brush. This stem is done in the same fashion, going from dark to light, and I've gone around the perimeter with 2 different shades here to really make the flower stand out. As I've mentioned, all colors are listed on the website, and the link will be below on this video here on YouTube. After I've added the 2 markers, just adding a little bit of color. You really don't want a harsh line. I've taken an aqua brush with a fine point and very little water and kind of brought the line out so that it dissipates. So there's no evident line. And when this dries, the little bit of water that was there won't be a ridge or a harsh line. Using some tonic mirror card, I cut a panel for the front of the card and trimmed down the Bristol Smooth cardstock, making sure that the flower stayed in the center of the panel. Using a watermark, in this case Versamark, I added it to the stamens in 2 different colors of embossing powder. I was particular to make sure that I didn't get Versamark around on the petals of the flowers and just stayed within the stamens. I used a embossing powder for the sentiments after using Versamark watermark ink to stamp the sentiment, "Thinking of You." I matched ribbon to the embossing powder and tied a bow and attached that to the stem, trimming off the ends so that they wouldn't be too long and overpower the card. Be Creative tape secured the stamped and watercolored panel to the mirror card, leaving a little bit of the mirror card peeking out vertically on each side of the panel. I stamped the inside of the card with Hero Arts Shadow Ink with You Inspire Me, and brought the mirror card into the inside of the card by attaching a vertical strip along the right hand side. The inside panel was adhered to the inside of the card base with Nouveau Deluxe liquid glue, and the front panel was secured to the front of the card base, and that completes this card. Here's the inside and the outside and a photograph. I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.